It's 1996, and the cameras of CHTV, local life television charity, visit Colchester's Mercury Theatre for its history and its open day.
Behind the scenes at the Mercury. What are we going to see today on the tour, Sharon?
Well, basically what we've tried to do is to show people what happens in a theatre from the very beginning of a play and its rehearsal stages right through to when it actually gets on the stage. You'll be able to see everything, how we start to market it and advertise it, make sure the public become aware of what we're doing, how we then sort of get the actors in and they start rehearsing, which is quite a long process. And then you'll go backstage to see their dressing room areas and all the sort of how we build the scenery and paint it. And basically, right, the whole lot, the lighting, sound effects, everything, and you're able to ask as many questions as you want. I think we wanted to do this because we felt a lot of people really don't know what happens in a theatre. I mean, I've only been here since the end of September, and there's certainly a lot I didn't know, and I was quite amazed by how many people were employed here and how many different jobs they did. So I think hopefully everyone should be quite surprised and enjoy it, I hope.
Will it be a regular occurrence? Will you open the doors every year or a couple of times a year to show what goes on?
I think, if we think the public enjoyed it, I think that's certainly something we'd like to do again. Yeah, it's always good to get people in to see what we're doing. We're part of the community. That's something we're trying to sort of build up on, sort of our community links, and I think that would be a good way to do it.
Now, we're sitting in your office beside a rather high-tech bit of kit, which I haven't seen before. What is it?
This is our Select ticketing systems computer. High-tech, it's very complicated, but it's very old and does take a bit of time to warm up. But basically here we can work out exactly how many tickets have been sold. We can go into Northanger Abbey, which is on at the moment, and find out, like we've got 112 seats available for tonight, but for this afternoon, but only 64 for tonight. And really it gives us an idea in the marketing office of how well things are doing, if we need to advertise something a bit more, or if something's doing really well, we might think, oh, could we squeeze an extra performance in? We've got, and obviously the box office use this as well to sell their tickets for the public. So,
how far in advance does this work? Because I know once the pantomime was advertised in the summer, August, hot sunshine, you're thinking of Christmas.
I know.
And a lot of people do book early, don't they?
They do. We're trying to get the pantomime. I think the pantomime should be open for booking today. That was the idea anyway. I ought to check really before I say that to you. But yes, we're hoping to do that, and people can. But yes, Dick Whittington is on there, so yes, you can book for it today.
What does this device do then?
This is a light pen. It's supposed to stop you using the keyboard, and it's supposed to be quicker, but it doesn't always work. And then I can just point at the things I want, and I can say buy someone a full price ticket, an education card, complimentary if you're the press or hospital television or something like that. So yes, it is very complicated, but it's quite useful for us because it stores absolutely loads of information in there from all our ticketing history from years back. Really, we can find out what people came to see what show, and if they've lapsed for some reason, we can contact them and say, ask them why they're not coming anymore. Yeah, it really helps us keep an eye on what's happening and the response we're getting, which is really, really useful.
Moving then into the construction world, Alex, what is the process? Do you see a model first of all? Who produces the model of the actual scenes?
Well, what happens is the theatre hires in a freelance designer to design the set, and then what happens is she designs a set, makes a model as you can see over there. She brings it into a production meeting, which happens at first, and this is where we discuss the more finer points of what she wants. And then I get the model and I sit down with the production manager and we talk about how we're going to go about it and what's the best way of doing things. And then basically we get down to building it. We usually get given a ground plan, and for more complicated pieces we get given a plan, but usually it's make it from the model. I mean, this one is a fairly easy build.
What are we talking about? We're talking about Golden Girls,
yeah, we're talking about Golden Girls. Golden Girls is a fairly easy build, but Northanger was a bit more complicated, but it was enjoyable because it was a challenge, and it was interesting.
I would think Northanger Abbey was, as you say, a challenge because of the surreal, the old, the different levels too. I mean, how did you go about handling that?
Like the levels? No, it was just making up individual stage pieces, and it's just like stud work then covered, but made sure it's solid so you don't get any spring in the step. And we have like the model again. We have a ground plan, so we can take all the angles. We can then cut the top and then build from the top down, make sure it goes together. It's fairly easy sort of stuff.
What sort of materials are you working with then? What have we got here? Is it just ordinary blockboard?
This is brought in especially to cut the Olympic rings for Golden Girls. But the main material that I use is 3/4 ply, 3/4 inch shuttering ply. It's cheap, but it's like sturdy. You also use a lot of 3x1, which is used for the flattage that you see. I mean, on Northanger Abbey, all the flats that are standing out, that's all out of 3x1. A lot of the books that you see, the steps, are all made out of 6x1, so we use a lot of softwood and ply.
Do you ever recycle anything? I mean, can you reuse something that was from a previous production?
Yeah, we do.
Sorry, mate.
Yes.
James watching a minute.
Right. Yeah, if we can, we will reuse it because like materials is money and budgets are small. So we try and salvage what we can. Like long lengths of timber that's handy to have because you just use them again. And like sheets of ply, again, that's cost money, so we'll just rip them off. And everything gets painted a different colour, so yeah.
You have to go and get the wood, or is this all supplied to you?
Well, there's a bit of both. We get a big delivery of 3x1, which takes bloody ages to load up onto the racks up there. We get big truckload of ply come in, but we usually have to go and get odd bits and pieces throughout the build. Like we had to go and pick this up because they couldn't deliver it. But,
and then what happens from here? Once you've built all this, do you have to assist on loading it into different frames on the stage?
Well, yeah, what I do is I build it, and then we'll wait for the what we call the fit up, which is usually on the Sunday. They have a get out on a Saturday, which is after the last performance, so they clear the stage, and I'll move in with the chippies on the Sunday, and we construct it from there. It's fairly basic, but it's usually long hours, that's the trouble.
I mean, health and safety must be of paramount importance.
Yeah,
anything ever fallen down?
No. We are fairly conscious of health and safety, especially when we're flying equipment. Utmost of health and safety. I mean, you can see all the guards on the machines. We don't want any accidents. It slows up production.
Heidi, when do you get to do the decorating and painting for each production? What happens?
We can start as soon as the designer brings the model in. If the carpenters have got all the materials, if they've got the timber and everything to cover the flats with, we can start as soon as then. And particularly on Panto, we sometimes get the cloths in the middle of the summer to do, so they're well out of the way by the time we start building the actual flattage in the paint shop. And then we normally have about 4 weeks to paint the scenery in here before it goes on stage. The set's put in on a Sunday for a Thursday opening, and we then go on to nights. We paint nights from Sunday to Thursday to paint the floors and finish off any flattage that hasn't been finished in here, because the electricians are on stage most of the day, so we can't get to it. And then after it's been up for a couple of weeks, there's usually bits to touch in that have been scuffed and, corners that have been bashed and things, but no major repairs, I don't think.
What
Quite a long time.
What are you looking at now? I mean, we're in the spring, so how far in advance now are you working?
We're starting to work on Golden Girls now, which is the one before. It's the one before Noises Off. Noises Off is the last one. So we're starting to work on Golden Girls already. Alex in there is starting to build the set for it, and we've painted a few of the little props and things for it already. It's only a small show, so hopefully we should finish painting that in probably a couple of weeks, and then we'll go straight on to Noises Off, which is the bits of set that you can see around here now.
You obviously get covered as part of your work,
Yeah.
covered in paint.
I'm actually quite clean compared to what I normally look like. I've normally got it in my hair and all over my face.
And what about your shoes?
My shoes.
We'll have a look at your shoes. Do you get through a few pairs of shoes in a year?
No, my last ones lasted me quite a few years, but they stuck quite a bit of a bashing through the panto. They had glitter and everything on them, so they just literally fell apart. So.
What sort of paints do you use? Are they oil paints? Are they
No, they're
water-based
water-based emulsion, most of them. Apart from the Roscoe, which is, basic sort of scenic paint. It's nice and bright, keeps its colour under the lights and everything. Goes quite a long way because you can water it down quite a way.
I mean, for some of the night shots with pantomimes, you obviously use some luminous paints, do you?
We've used UV paint on the panto, but I didn't really think it stood out that well at all. So very rarely use that sort of paint.
Do paints take their toll with heavy lighting? Do they fade over the period of production?
Some do, but the sets in here aren't really up that long, 3 to 4 weeks, so they still look, I mean, apart from wear and tear on the set, the odd scuff mark and stuff, that they stay the same shade, I would say, yeah, they don't really fade.
Heidi, any stories of panics and having to strap paint on between?
I'm allowed to say anything.
Just tell us one, just easy one. Pantomimes must be fun with things breaking.
Pantomimes are, because the sets are so big, and you're trying to do so much work in such a little time, so there's always last minute panic. Is it going to fit, and have we done it right, and what's it going to look like from the back of the auditorium? There's all that, but we've never had a complete disaster where the set hasn't gone up and we've had to abandon first night. We've never had that. It always gets there at the last minute. Everybody pulls together and it gets there.
Did you actually design and paint the beanstalk or was that bought in, the beanstalk?
The beanstalk was made in here. It was made by a couple of students that we had in from Nottingham Trent Polytechnic. They made it, and it was made out of plaster which is sort of camping mat material, just around a wire frame. So yeah, that was made in here.
And up it went.
And up it went, yes.
Day after day, week after week.
It looked very bashed when it came down. It was in a bit of a state when it finished, but.
For the car that was used, did you have to paint the car for the Dame, or was that?
Yeah, the car came in here, and it took quite a while to paint, actually. The carpenters sawed the deputy stage manager's Citroen in half. It's a Citroen, yeah, sawed it in half and then chopped a bit out and then welded it back together to make it a lot smaller. And there was quite a lot of work that was done on it before it actually came into us, and we got it on production week.
A marvellous prop. What's the best prop that you've ever had to work on?
Couldn't tell you offhand, I'm afraid. I don't know. There's been quite a few good ones. These books were fab to make. They were lovely.
I know in the green room we were talking to some of the actors and actresses, and they were saying, oh yes, these books, they're lovely, but they've got sharp edges.
Yes, they have, yeah. They're quite heavy as well. The table books were weighted with sand to keep them upright. But quite a lot of the backstage staff have got their eye on them. Quite a few people have put their names on them. We want this when it comes out. So. Graham
Hansel, now one of the secrets behind moving scenes and scenery. What have we got on display here?
Basically, it's 25% smaller than life scale model of the flying system that we have in the Mercury. If you imagine that the huge window that was on stage would be hung on this silver bar, this would be counterweighted to the same weight as the window on stage, and then they get someone lovely like me to move it in and out. When it's required on stage, it comes in. When it's not required on stage, it goes out.
Do you get a cue then from the control tower or whatever?
We do, yeah, prompt desk. She has everything written in a script, and at certain points the designer requires the window to be in, and she has that written in, and it's called over a set of cans we wear, a set of headsets.
But all this must take time to construct and put together with all the wires and cables and pulleys.
Yes, it does. The actual fixtures on stage, it's a permanent fixture. We just add things to it and take things away depending on whatever it is that we need.
Well, for Northanger Abbey, Graham, how many times is this in and out of the production?
Well, it's 12 times during the whole show. The actual window weighs half a ton on its own.
And was the window constructed here by the Mercury Theatre Workshop?
Yep, everything on stage was built here.
This is the part where actors and actresses are relaxing before the big performance, and the green room is just around the corner here. And we're going to see people who have been starring in Northanger Abbey, the current Mercury Theatre production. Northanger Abbey actors and actresses?
Yes,
Oh, yes, we are. Oh, no, you're not. Oh, no, it's the wrong time of year. Who have we got over here? Who do you play?
I play Catherine Morland.
Catherine Morland.
Yeah.
Ah, tell me about the storyline. What does Catherine do?
Catherine is the girl who it all revolves around. It's her journey, basically, to Bath to find a suitable husband-type person. But her interest in Gothic novels gets the better of her, and her imagination runs riot. And she goes off to Northanger Abbey as a guest, leaves under a cloud, and ends up reunited with her love.
Oh, isn't that nice? But there's a couple of ghosts, or shall I say monks, that come into your bedroom, aren't there? But you don't see them.
No, because they're all in my imagination. That is Catherine's imagination running wild.
Beautiful sets, though, aren't they? Very sort of oldie-worldy.
Difficult to work with.
Really? 3 different levels when we watched it?
Not so much that, but just that the things like all the stools that are made out of the books all piled up on each other, they're kind of quite tricky because you've got corners sticking out, and the first few performances we did, it was kind of tripping over corners, and they're lower than you expect as well. So you kind of go to sit down and they're like that much lower than you think, so you end up, being a bit silly.
Fantastic performance and well done. What happens here in the green room then? Let's just ask somebody else over here. Is this where you relax and unwind?
It is. It's where we all sit and have cups of coffee and eat our tea, basically.
Why do they call it the green room?
Green's a very relaxing colour.
Green's a relaxing colour.
She's just made that up.
I haven't just made that up. Someone else made it up, and I believed them. And you'll notice it's not green.
It's not green, is it?
Nothing was allowed to be green on the stage.
Why is that? Why aren't we allowed to have green on stage?
Superstitions, and that's one of the theatrical...
You're going to fall over the side.
Steady, you're not going to... do damage with that thing. Is it alive?
Well, actually, it hasn't had any milk this morning, so I don't know.
There you go.
Drink here.
It's coffee.
Yes, there are many legends in theatres, ghosts and traditions. Tell us a little bit about this green scenario.
Well, one story put around is that they would go through the stage and make sure that nobody had put anything green on the stage. And there was only one place that was safe to put it in, and that was the place where you all relaxed, and that's where you could put your anything that was green. If you happened to have a green scarf or a green vase, it could not be allowed to be put on the set for set dressing. Somebody had made a mistake. Now, I don't know why. There is no logic behind that. There is a logic behind some of the other ones. Apparently, whistling, which is taboo. People don't whistle. I think it's probably because whistling can be irritating, and when you're just waiting for your first night, that would not be a pain in the neck. But it has to do with sailors who were used to do all the flying because they were the men who could handle ropes. That's what they made their livelihood at. And if they could handle ropes going around the Horn, then obviously backstage in theatre would be pretty easy for them. They communicated, as they would at sea, by a series of whistles. Don't know how that would go down during a live performance, but that's the story for that one.
There's a bit of a debate going here. Somebody's saying no, 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 no.
I thought he was going to forget about the sailors and their series of whistles and things like that. I think he was making up some other story, like I just made up about the green room. We like to have a little banter, actors.
So you relax and unwind, and on the call board, what does the call board mean?
Well, we're called for rehearsals, and we have to be given our calls the day before, and they must be posted on a board so that we all know where we have to be, and so the stage management know where we are. And that's what the call board is for, and it gives you the cast list and any information that we need to know about the rehearsal.
Anybody ever missed their call and been carpeted? Or is that just not the done thing?
It's not the done thing.
Nobody here. We haven't spoken to you yet, have we? Nobody here. What sort of accent's this then?
It's my... Oh no, a man's coming at me with a furry microphone accent.
What do you play, Northanger Abbey?
I play Eleanor Tilney, who is the sister of Catherine Morland's beau, and she actually lives in Northanger Abbey with the spooky General Tilney, and we live in the place that Catherine has all these wild imaginings about. So we're not quite as dramatic as she thinks we are. We're a bit dysfunctional, but what can you do?
The costumes are wonderful, aren't they? Very sort of, what, were you talking about 200 years ago, aren't we?
Yes, pretty much, getting on for, yes. And they help a lot because, particularly for the women, they're a completely different shape from what you would normally wear as a dress, because they all happen from under the bust, and normally we're so used to wearing things where you have to hold your waist in, it's great. Because once you've got your frock on, you can eat an enormous meal, no one knows. But,
The secrets then of the green room here at the Mercury Theatre. From the green room, this is the rat run between back of the theatre and the big stage. The main auditorium is just beyond here. So if you come with me, you'll see exactly how actors and actresses get to the stage. And this is it, the set of Northanger Abbey. And if we look very carefully, you can see, as we were talking about in the green room, the different levels, 3 levels, and how it's all put together with little stairways and scaffolding. But let's actually get onto the set. When it comes to sound effects, that's how a door opens and closes.
Effects, really, the sort you've heard coming out through the sound system, and of course the what we call the live ones, and that varies. In a show like this, we've got a variety. We've got that is literally used for calling people to dinner. Yes, that's why that's there. It actually comes out over the other side of the stage, and that obviously is important that that's a live effect, and it has that has a different quality then for you when you're watching it. The chains here that we've got here, again, are deliberate. We do have some recorded chains as well in this show, but our stage manager stands just at the top of the stairs there, just off stage, and rattles those at an appropriate moment, because there's meant to, the girl and the heroine, rather, not hero, is meant to think that there's ghosts in the house and things like that. She's got this fantasy in her brain of all sorts of things that don't exist at all. But so we do this, and there's a door rattle and things like that.
Quite quiet at the time, so you wouldn't.
That's right.
It's time for lunch. Behind the theatre, away in a nice little detached property,
indeed,
we find lovely Beverly Smith, wardrobe supervisor. Beverly, how soon in the process do you know what costumes are required?
Normally we have a production meeting, which is approximately a week before the actors arrive. Hopefully in that meeting the designer will supply me with some costume designs so I can start to think about how I'm going to proceed with getting everything ready for the show. But I don't have the actors' measurements unless I ring them up, and they don't really know their own measurements anyway. So normally a week before the read-through, but then on the read-through the actors come, read the play, I go along, I say, hi, I'm Beverly, I'm the wardrobe supervisor, and at the end of this I would like to measure you all. So then I measure all the actors, and if I'm having certain things made, like with Golden Girls, I'm having some leotards made, I have to take special measurements. I have to take a shoulder through the crutch, round to the shoulder again for leotards to get the body length. So on Monday I'll be doing that. But then the designer hopefully is here during that first week, and we start shopping for fabrics, shopping for clothes. The girls start cutting patterns, and then we do fittings. And then we make the dresses and I go out shopping.
So all the work is done here. You actually create all the costumes.
Yeah, the costumes are
tailored to fit each individual actor or actress, and they will only fit that person really, because say you've got a woman who's got a very small waist but big hips, obviously you have to make the frock to fit her, which inevitably it has to. And so at the end you end up with lots of funny shaped costumes.
What happens to the costumes after it's all over?
We used to have a hire department, but we no longer have that department. And at the end of the season, I ring my friend up in Birmingham, Costume Hire, Lynn, and I say, Lynn, would you like to buy some costumes? And she knows that the stuff we produce here is of a very high quality and usually very pretty, etc., etc. And she will come down from Birmingham and peruse things I have on offer, and she'll pick things and she'll buy them from me.
So what's the workforce? How many seamstresses have you got working away here?
Well, I can make, but I very rarely get a chance to make anything. There's me, I have a deputy who will cut patterns and make frocks, I have an assistant who will cut patterns and make frocks, and I have Chrissy, who's the maintenance lady, who also makes frocks but doesn't cut patterns, but she's only part-time, so I can only take so much of her time in making things. So I have, there are a team of 3 plus a part-timer.
Do you have to do running repairs? I mean, somebody might turn quickly and tear.
Oh yes, that blue dress has got lots of holes in it where it's been repaired, and quite often they'll catch the heel in a hem and the hem comes down. And on Northanger Abbey you can't machine a dress hem, you've got to hand sew it, and unfortunately they come down easier than a machined hem. So yes, there's always a hem to sew or a hole to patch and a popper that's come off and things like that.
Do you ever have to buy in costumes from Angels and Bermans or any of
We don't buy. I don't go to Angels anymore. I've boycotted Angels, I'm afraid.
Oh, really? You don't like Angels?
I don't like Angels. They changed their policy. You've got to pay up front, you've got to pay a big deposit, and they're not really what I would consider. And also you just get tacked from them anyway. I've got a Cosprop now. All the menswear in Northanger Abbey is from Cosprop. It's all hired. And it will go back at the end of the run, and hopefully I'll never hear hide nor hair of it again, hopefully.
What about for the pantomime? I mean, theatre zoo people provide all sorts of animal costumes. Do you make your own animal costumes? I mean, the cow that was in Jack and the Beanstalk.
Well, I made the cow's body and the cow's legs, but the cow's head was sent to Peter Evans Studios in Bedfordshire. They are, Peterborough. I think that's Bedfordshire, I'm not sure. Anyway, you order it, give them a date when you need it by, and they're notorious. So I lied to them. I told them we needed it 2 weeks before we actually did need it. But even then it wasn't ready. So I just had that made out and it was covered and it arrived. And I just had to make minor alterations to it, and then we had a cow. We've still got a cow.
And you keep the cow. How does it work, operate inside?
It's got little pulleys. And it's got a lever, like a bicycle lever, and you pull that and the eyes move from side to side. It doesn't do a great deal. It doesn't do as much as the giant. The giant's eyes move, his eyelids move independently and his mouth moves. So the giant has more movement in him. But I had to have that made out by a prop maker, a freelance prop maker in London, which costs a lot of money. But unfortunately, something like that is essential to the script. It's got to be there. You can't not have a giant. It'd look pretty stupid if you didn't have a giant. And I could have made it, but I just didn't have the time to make it. I said, I'm sorry, but I can't. I'm too busy shopping. I'm a professional shopper.
What about the laundry work then? Does that go on behind the scenes too?
Well, Christine is our laundry lady, and she does all the washing, all the men's shirts. When you're not doing guided tours, We put dress shields in all the ladies' dresses because obviously you can't wash a period dress. Well, you can, some of them, but not many, mostly dry clean. So the dress shields are washed every night and put back into the dresses again. They're little things that sit under the arms, little half-moon things, but they do still get a bit sweaty.
And you do a bit of ironing as well?
We do a bit, well, we have to have it's a good iron. You have to have a good iron for making as well. You're always having to press open seams and press hems and turnings and all sorts of things.
Got any disaster stories you'd like to share with us? Torn costumes on stage?
My worst day so far was when an actor recently lost his sideburns, which is £60 a pair.
He lost them?
Well, he'd lost them. He told me he'd lost them, and I said, where did you leave them? He said, I left them in the green room, on the windowsill, and I've got visions of the cleaners hoovering them up because they're only this big and they're little hairy things, and you might think it was somebody's pet that had molted a little bit, so he'd sort of hoover that up, you know. And we hunted high and low in the green room, bearing in mind that they'd been made especially for him. couldn't find them anywhere, under the chair covers, under the cushions, behind the sofa, scouting about on the floor, and he said, that's where I left them. I'm like, oh my God, what's he done with them? I was ready to kill the guy. And then I saw one of the stage managers, Lucy. I said, Lucy, have you seen any sideburns anywhere? It was a faint hope, you know. And she went, oh yes, I've put them in the drawer. I said, thank God for that.
£60 a time.
Yeah, I could have killed him. He's so lackadaisical as well with his costumes. He just leaves them lying around all over the place. He's terrible. He's got no respect at all. And I think, kill him. And he did apologise, but I'm sorry, I haven't recovered from that one yet.
Well, Golden Girls is next, and then Noises Off.
Yeah.
So what are you working on?
I'm working on, well, we don't have the read-through till Monday, so on Monday it will all start, the ball will start rolling as such. But I've been inquiring about having, because they need yellow tracksuits, and I'm sorry, you can't buy yellow tracksuits. I've been inquiring about having yellow tracksuits made. I've been inquiring on having their running, like leotards, one pieces made. I've been having those, sorting that out. Just a bit of shopping. A bit of shopping, yeah. It's mostly all shopping, Golden Girls, because it's modern day, it's sportswear. Just go and buy it.
What's your favourite production then, year on?
In the last year, say, 12th Night, definitely. It was a lovely show, very nicely designed, very aesthetically pleasing, shall we say that? He's a very talented designer, I think, Patrick. I think he'll go a long way, Patrick Connellan. And it was just a very nice show, all in all. I didn't get tired of watching it. I have to watch it 3 times, 3 dress rehearsals. I watched the technical rehearsal, then 3 dress rehearsals, and then I go to first night. By the time I come first night, I've had a few drinks, I think, to get over it all. But no, 12th Night, definitely my favourite production. Very nice, and very good actors in it as well, which does.
So we're up in the gods, the control room, the nerve centre of the Mercury Theatre. Nick Key, Deputy Chief Electrician. What have we got up here? What kit?
Well, this is basically where all the electrical systems are operated from. I deal with sound mainly, and Jim sits at the other end. He deals with the light. I make all the sound effects come out at the right place at the right time from open reel tape decks, cassettes or CDs. All comes back through the sound desk and out to the relevant speakers via amplifiers, and then down to the actual speakers themselves. We start with the script, with the writer's ideas of sound effects in them, and then I have to record the sound effects onto the tapes in the right order and make up a cue sheet which tells me what I have to do for each cue, because we communicate with each other through a CAN system, and there's a girl who sits on the stage telling us what cues should happen when, and this cue sheet tells me what I've got to do for each cue. We just get a number, so it'll be sound cue 1, go, and that tells me that I have to go take 1, which is over here. We record from CDs, records, we do live recordings, or anything we can't obtain from library CDs.
We just recently, for Northanger Abbey, have you not been to Timperley's Clock Museum?
We have. We went to Timperley's the other day to record 5 clocks ticking, and recording 5 clocks ticking isn't quite as easy as it sounds, because you have to have the mic so high to actually catch the ticking that you will catch people walking past with clothes rustling, birds outside. But we got some good footage of clocks ticking and clocks chiming. We had to get 5 clocks to chime 5 at the same time, which is a bit of a game. 4 people on clocks, just winding them on, go like to get the time right.
Now, are you involved with dress rehearsals, technical rehearsals, all the time?
Right from, as I say, right from a blank script through to a finished show, making up the show tapes, everything. We talk with the directors to find out exactly what they want. We do it all basically.
What about the lighting? Do you have to bring in special lights for certain productions?
Certain productions will require a certain effect which we don't have or can't achieve with the equipment we already have. So we go to other companies and hire in projectors or wheels, moving lights, control systems. For instance, in this show we have 2 strobe heads which do the lighting, and Jim has a special controller for those. And it all ties together with the sound to create the lightning effect during North Abbey.
But with all this kit, what could go wrong?
I could, on the sound side, I could have a tape break, I could have a speaker connection go down, a line level connection go down, anything like that. Could be human error, could be mechanical failure.
But the profession is, the show goes on.
Every day, no matter how you feel, no matter what you've done the night before, the show must go on.
Well, you've been on the tour, what do you think?
Very interesting. That's completely different from sitting out there and watching it.
Did you not know what went on behind the scenes?
Well, you think you do, don't you? It's not like that at all. It's a lot more grubbier and scruffier and sort of make do. It's very interesting, very, very interesting.
What do you think of the tour behind the scenes?
Excellent.
What have you learned?
Lots of things that's been happening behind the scenes.
Yes, we've been very impressed with it actually. It's the first time I've been here, but we do live locally and we thought it would be a nice, interesting morning out to do something a little bit different with the children. So we've been very impressed with it.
And what's been your favourite part of the behind the scenes day? What have you liked to see?
What did you enjoy? What did you like doing best?
Looking at the machines.
Oh, upstairs.
Yes.
Oh, he liked all the lights.
All the light desks?
Yes, you enjoyed that, didn't
you? And did you go into the wardrobe area to see the cow and the giant?
Yes.
What did you like in there?
The buttons.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
You liked the stage, didn't you, Lydia?
Yeah. What did you do on the stage?
Pretend to act.
You did some pretend acting, did you? How nice. Well, Mum, what did you think behind the scenes at the moment?
I thought it was excellent, and I'm sort of arty and would like the children really to join something when they're older. There is a Tuesday club here, but Gregory can't come to that because he's at nursery, but perhaps when they're older they could join something after school.
Well, theatre manager Michael Creasy. Michael, is this the first time the Mercury have had open house?
Indeed it is, yes.
And has it been successful?
Well, we believe so. I mean, we're not sure yet exactly how many people have come through the doors, but the response has been, quite overwhelming, really.
Well, we found it very busy behind the scenes. Do you think it will ever happen again?
Oh, I think you can be fairly certain to know that it will happen again, yes.
Whose idea was it?
Our artistic director, Pat Truman, first came up with the idea. She's operated open days in previous theatres and thought it was about time the Mercury opened its doors fully to let people see what was happening here.
So there you have it, the magic of theatre in Colchester. Many thanks to Pat Truman and all at the Mercury Theatre.